You know, I never buy the popcorn buckets, ever. This is the first, like, popcorn bucket I've ever gotten that's like used like a memorabilia thing.
Well, describe it for the folks.
It is a see-through version of Slimer with a popcorn bucket and his mouth wide open for you to eat the popcorn out of. And he is fully sculpted. Look at that badonkadunk.
Oh,
bro.
Wow. He's got
Look at that badonkadunk. I mean,
dude.
it's got an apple bottom, dude. Like, it gives Kim Kardashian a run for her money, man. That's a booty.
You get your Dune bucket and that Slimer bucket, you got a nice evening.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you got the Slimer bucket to look at and kind of feel up a little bit while you use the Dune bucket.
He's primer for the main attraction.
Yeah. Dude, his ass is like half of his body.
Did he have those ass cheeks, those butt cheeks in the movie?
I don't know,
he was
man.
flying
I don't know
around
if they
too
ever
fast.
He flew pretty fast, you know what I mean? Like,
And is that really ectoplasm or is that another fluid?
In a world of bad movies, two follically challenged men will stop at nothing to share their opinions of them. Their wives are tired of listening. But are you? This isn't the podcast you deserve, but it's the one you need. I collect spores, molds, and fungus for bald guys and bad movies.
Welcome to Bald Guys and Bad Movies, episode 78. I am Troy. Here with my good friend and buddy,
Mike Stella.
Mike. Stella!
On the eve of your trip to Cabo.
That's right.
You all packed up, my friend?
Not completely, but, you know, I got a nice start.
Now, because Robin, like the week before, maybe even 2 weeks before, she's like thinking about packing. And then definitely a week before, she's like laying the clothes. It's like stages.
Right.
She'll take the clothes out. They're not in the case yet. They're like just folded on the dresser in sections. And
Generally speaking, I don't worry about it too much. Andrea is more the one who's like trying to get things in her suitcase early. I kind of do it just to appease her. You know what I mean? Because I know she wants me to start packing. So I just kind of do it just to lower her stress level a little bit. And so
Robin used to be that way for me. Then she was like, you know what? I don't care. You do you. I'm like, okay.
Right. Perfect.
The day before, that's when I packed.
Yeah. Well, generally speaking, I just want to make sure all my clothes are clean and folded. A lot of my like nicer shirts, the shirts that I'm worried about shrinking, like I wash them on delicate and then I hang them to dry.
Your America shirt, one of those? Those delicate?
No.
Those colors never run or shrink.
No, that's like, I literally bought that just I think it was like going up to like 4th of July or something.
I know, I'm teasing. I know it's one of those. It's like the shirt I have on. Its life cycle should have ended like 2 years ago, but
exactly,
I still keep it around. It's an old friend. But do you pack your favorite underwear, the ones that is like almost see-through? Do you like?
Yeah.
Okay. Just saying.
My favorite underwear show up almost see-through. So, I mean, that's
Will you fresh out the package?
Yeah, fresh out the package.
Oh, okay.
Got the fundies.
King K. What's the icon on those? Is it the Fruit of the Loom? Remember that? Those mascots? The fruit mascots?
Oh, yeah. When they were like people in suits and stuff. Yeah, I remember that. That shit was
Where
funny.
are they all like in leather bondage? Those are the mascots.
That's exactly it, Troy. That's
underwear.
like how'd you figure that one out?
Oh, I don't know. I just follow the breadcrumbs. At least I hope those are breadcrumbs. What's that on the ground?
You don't want to know.
Yeah, I don't want to know. So, Mike, what are we reviewing this week?
Ghostbusters Frozen Empire.
I've been waiting 40 years for this. They called themselves Ghostbusters. According to these hacks, they saved the world. No eyewitnesses. And who is found to carry the torch? Descendants of Egon Spengler. You have a miner hanging out the side of a moving vehicle, firing a laser gun indiscriminately.
Has a proton pack.
It's completely safe.
I wouldn't say completely safe.
The Ghostbusters are finished.
Right. Well, overruled.
Sustained.
Thank you.
You the weird guy who buys strange old things?
Correct on both counts.
Buddy,
You just hit the jackpot.
What is it?
Better question is, what's inside of it?
The parables tell of an unimaginable evil commanding an army of ghosts. With the power to kill by fear itself.
Like, literally scared to death?
We might be looking at a second ice age.
We're gonna need all the help we can get.
Let's get to work.
Can I be of any help? Melnitz in uniform. Yes.
If there's something strange, if there's something weird, who are people gonna call?
Ghostbusters, what do you want?
We're the Ghostbusters. Can I tell you something else?
What?
Bustin makes me feel good. It makes me feel good.
Yeah, I'm having a feeling that the best part of this movie existing is the merch.
Okay, let's get into it then, bro.
Right. So Ghostbusters Frozen Empire is a 2024 American supernatural comedy film directed by Gil Keenan from a screenplay he co-wrote with Jason Reitman. It is the sequel to Ghostbusters Afterlife and the fifth film in the Ghostbusters franchise. The film stars Paul Rudd, Carrie Coon, Finn Wolfhard, McKenna Grace, Kelsey O'Connor, and Logan Kim reprising their roles from Afterlife alongside Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, Ernie Hudson, Annie Potts, and William Atherton reprising their roles from the earlier films. Kamal Nanjiani, Patton Oswalt, Emily Lynn Lind, and James Acaster also joined the cast. Also, the population of Russia, and there's a lot of people in this film. Set 2 years after the events of Afterlife, the veteran Ghostbusters must join forces with their new recruits to save the world in New York City from a powerful, death-chilling adversary who seeks to build a spectral army that we never see. What did you think of Ghostbusters Afterlife, Mike?
I loved it. I thought it was fun, and I had a great time. I did not fall asleep in it once. I thought it had a lot of action. I was interested. I cared. Highly recommend for me. It was a real good time.
I didn't love it as much. I thought it was a mixed bag. I liked it better than Afterlife. That's 100%. Like, Afterlife was fine, but it didn't feel like a Ghostbusters film. It felt like setup for a new direction.
For the next, yeah, right.
And in terms of a new direction and world building, I give kudos to this one. Like the world, I really love the world, the dynamics it set up. But overall, I was let down. It was a lot of build up for a weak finale against the enemy, in my opinion. Without going into details, but if you're a diehard Ghostbusters fan, go see it. I mean, there's plenty of nostalgia in there. And I do like the fact that Dan Aykroyd and Ernie Hudson had a lot more to do.
Yeah.
And it felt...
The Big BM was in there too. Oh. He was hilarious.
I got stuff to say about that. Yeah, it was good. When he was there, it was nice. But
yeah,
if you're not a fan of Ghostbusters, I don't know if this one will win you over. But I don't know. It could have been better. Could have been worse. So I'm in the middle with this one.
Look, if you go into it with extremely high expectations...
I had no expectations. I had zero. Because Afterlife was like, meh. So
I liked Afterlife.
I was honestly like, okay, well, I'll go with it. I tell you one thing. McKenna Grace, I absolutely fucking love. And...
oh, yeah, she's good.
And she was the best part, in my opinion, of Afterlife. And this film really centers on her story, her journey, which I thought was fine. Like, I liked it.
Right.
But even that, I had some issues with it. But it was not her performance or her character. Right. I loved her character. I loved everything about her role. So I read that Dan Aykroyd signed on for 3 of these. So Afterlife is 1, Frozen Empire's the 2nd, and there'll be a 3rd with his generation Ghostbusters, assuming that includes Murray or whatever. So they're doing a decent job setting up the new generation for the most part. So anyway, that's the hot takes. So now let's get into it. What's your thoughts? What did you love about this film, Mike?
I just thought it was fun. I had a good time watching it. The action was fun. I thought there was a nice balance of them doing the ghost busting along with also showing, like, I like the world, like Ernie Hudson, like creating, like having this like R&D facility for ghost busting and stuff. That was cool shit. Like, that was really cool. Dude, that ghost with like the teeth in the containment area where that shit, I was like, that is one sinister looking ghost. And I was like, dude,
he was great.
And he was about to get out, and I was like, oh, shit, this is about to go down. And then he gets pulled back in. I'm like, oh, man. I was kind of disappointed about that.
And then when he's released later, you don't see him again.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was a nice choice.
Yeah, no, I mean, look, I definitely think that it would have been nice to see, like, more ghosts at the very end. But aside from that, I enjoyed it. I had a good time.
Let me just unleash, because I feel like I have a lot more to you thought this worked on all levels for the most part.
I thought it was fun. I think everyone in it are good actors. Like, I feel like they all give good performances, and so none of the performances felt like they were dragging it down or anything. I thought it had a good cadence to it. I think there was like one little part towards the middle that got a little slow, but immediately picked up after that. So I don't know. I thought it was good. It was fun,
So where to start?
Yeah, I want to hear your takes, because I feel like that's going to be the thing that really kind of kicks the tires.
The world building, I really loved. I appreciate it. I like how Winston has stepped up, because he was the least experienced person in the originals.
Right.
And now he's kind of the head honcho. Like, he's really like entrepreneuring and continuing to develop the science. And their facility, it's like in an abandoned aquarium or whatever.
Yeah.
They also explain why the firehouse is important. It's like a linchpin, because I think, correct me if I'm wrong, was it due to historical reasons? Because they start off on a flashback in that firehouse, or was it when the containment unit exploded in one, it ripped a hole in reality? Like, there's a reason why they need to keep the firehouse in their possession and keep it monitored.
Oh, because they can't move that containment facility.
And that's why, right? Because it's like a rift.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. And I like that they broached that subject, because I've always wondered to myself, like, okay, you put all these ghosts in here. If it can only hold a finite amount of ghosts, like, what the fuck do you do with them after the fact? You know what I mean? Like, and I like that they kind of broached that subject, and they were like, well, we just make another one. And so they just made an even bigger containment facility elsewhere.
The idea is to transfer the overstock of ghosts,
right,
the overflow, to the other containment center.
And I like how Janine was like, it was the 80s. No one was thinking about the future.
Right. So I really loved that component. I liked the idea, and I'm okay with this, because you're never going to replicate the magic of the first one.
No, sure.
And, for whatever reason, they went with the exception of Paul Rudd, non-comedic actors.
Right.
Which was part of the reasons why I didn't like Afterlife as much. It was a tone shift. So for this one going in, okay, I know what to expect. Other than Paul Rudd as the comic relief, they're kind of like a normal, straightforward, the Spanglers I'm talking about.
Right, yeah.
Which you could argue and say, well, that's kind of smart, because instead of just casting comedians that would just be compared to the legends.
And they tried that with the female Ghostbusters, which I was confused when you said the fifth installment in these films. I'm like, the fifth? And then I realized it's the female Ghostbusters one. And I was like, how is that even within this? I can't even be in the same. Is that in the same universe? I mean, do they talk about them being?
I don't think so. I think it's.
Yeah. I thought it was completely disconnected from these.
I really like Kate McKinnon's character. She was my favorite character.
Well, Kate McKinnon's great in everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like I wish, if anything, they had just pulled her character into this new world. Like maybe she's in Ernie Hudson's thing. So anyway,
that would have been funny.
I thought it was an interesting dynamic to have a family living. It's a family business now, right?
Right.
So I like that. And like I said, McKenna Grace's character, Phoebe Spangler, she was amazing.
She's great. She is great. And I like the fact that she is so funny because she's so deadpan. And I love that. Like, I love how deadpan she is, but she still is hilarious in so many situations.
I don't really find her funny, but that's not a negative. Like, where Ghostbusters 2 failed for me is when, and they actually, Ramis and Aykroyd, they said that this time we wrote funny lines for everyone. It wasn't just Bill Murray.
Oh.
I remember this, and I was like, maybe that's why I didn't like it as much.
The first one, I ended up with all the lines, so that was pretty sweet. They just kept giving them to me. I don't think they realized what a big hit the movie was going to be, but This one, people are taking the lines that are theirs and taking more too. But so it's going to be, more spread out.
Because suddenly Egon was cracking wise, and the beauty of it was Dan Aykroyd and Harold Ramis kind of played it straight.
Right.
And Bill Murray was the sarcastic commentator on the situation. Sure. So I saw McKenna Grace's character as really everyone kind of played it straight. Paul Rudd, though in character, was kind of like the Bill Murray, but different, not like an asshole.
No, absolutely.
But just an awkward fanboy.
Yeah, he was really good. Like, I mean, Paul Rudd's great in everything. You know what I mean? Like,
and then Kumail Nanjiani, he was funny. I liked his character.
Yeah, talk about a glow up. I was like, that kid definitely grew up. He had a Neville Longbottom situation going on.
Wait, who are you talking about? I'm talking about the
sorry, I was talking about Podcast, the kid from the
Podcast.
The first Podcast had a nice little glow up there. Mm-hmm. I was like, oh, look at him, he's all handsome and shit, this handsome young guy. Mm-hmm. Like, it's pretty awesome. Like, to grow up from this goofy little kind of like stubby looking
chubby little
he kind of looked like the kid from Up. And
and I love they embraced the science, and there was a nice mesh of nostalgic tech with even Winston's lab still had kind of a mad scientist. Mm-hmm. It wasn't like so sleek. It wasn't like the Apple labs.
Buttons and dials.
Yeah, exactly. Like doodads and,
buttons and dials as opposed to like digital screens and things like that, which they still had here and there. But
when I heard this about this film, I actually got a little excited because they wrote this film. They modeled it after the cartoon show. They wanted to feel like an episode of the cartoon show, and I love the Saturday afternoon cartoon. I don't know if you ever watched that. The Real Ghostbusters.
Yeah, that was really good.
It's the thing, the monster. It's here, only it's different. Peter, calm down. You're babbling. What word don't you understand, Egon? Thing, monster, or different?
And I thought that lab technician, wasn't he blonde? But he had like glasses, like he was almost like an Egon-esque character, and he reminded me of their take of Egon in the cartoon.
Egon with the hair and stuff. Right. Totally. So, I remember the Real Ghostbusters being, I remember at one point, like one episode, they like go into the containment unit or something. Mm-hmm. Like, that shit was badass. It was funny. I was watching stuff and they were talking about things in the lab and they said something and I was like, oh shit, that's like straight out of the cartoon. Mm-hmm, that's like exactly referencing something that happened in the cartoon. So anyways, I thought that was kind of cool.
So those are the things I love. I started loving things and then was disappointed when things didn't pay off. For example, Phoebe's relationship with the ghost girl, I thought was fascinating.
Right. Yeah, it was pretty fascinating.
I thought it was an interesting, fresh twist. And where I thought it was leading was because it asked a moral question. We're busting ghosts.
Right.
And we're trapping them in jail. Essentially, we're not thinking about what is it like. This character made me think about it. Like, ghosts start as living things. I guess some can be demons or whatever, but they are living creatures. This girl, she's a ghost, and I took it that did she accidentally kill her parents or something, or she has a match. Her cursed object or whatever was a matchbook. It
was a matchbook,
which played into the finale. But it was actually kind of not dark, but a very dramatic turn, because at that point in the film, Phoebe felt alienated. She was too young, which I thought was a nice twist. Like, she is walking around with a nuclear accelerator
and she,
on a fucking back, and she's like 15 years old or whatever.
And then the flip side of that is, like, she is the most qualified person to do this shit. She is the smartest one, leaps and bounds, than everyone else in the group.
She inherited all her grandpa's intelligence, right? So
exactly.
So I thought they were going to explore that more.
Right.
The moral cost and ambiguity of capturing these ghosts. She's developing a relationship with this ghost. And for me, dude, there was definite romantic tension there. Like, it was.
Oh yeah. Oh no, she was hot for sure. Like,
but they stopped before. You'll hear a bit of this in Chloe's review. Chloe ripped this movie a new asshole. But there's a lot of things she said which I thought made a lot of sense.
Well, she is your child, so I'm not surprised.
So She was like, why did she pull her soul out of her body? Remember that moment? What was your take on that? Why did she do that? Because I don't think the movie did a really good job. It felt like a huge leap to do something so extreme for a ghost that she's known basically 3 days.
Well, I think there's multiple reasons why. Okay. I think one reason is she's 15. So her hormones are fucking off the charts right now. But flip side of that coin is we have established in many other films that ghosts can interact with, and in this film, with objects and people. You know what I mean? I mean, literally, fucking Ray gets a blowy from a ghost. You know what I mean? Yeah, like literally Ray gets a blowy from the first.
But no, that was a dream sequence, though.
That was not a dream sequence.
Are you sure? I think that was a dream sequence.
Yeah, he wakes up and looks down. No, that was not a dream. There were no dream sequences. There were no dream sequences.
That was not they even did like a wavy thing. Like, this is a dream.
No, they did not, dude.
You got to rewatch that scene, dude.
I will rewatch it, but no way. That was not a dream sequence, dude. So anyways, I kind of felt like, why does she need to pull her soul out of her body just to like interact with this ghost, since we've established that ghosts and humans can interact? You know what I mean?
If they had just kissed as ghosts, then it would have made perfect sense. You don't even have to explain it. Or maybe since this ghost girl was manipulating her, maybe she said the only way we can really make out is if you...
Right.
I mean, write it in a better way than that. But the other thing I thought would have made it better is if instead of her just meeting her that night,
right,
she has been meeting this girl for a few months now.
That would have helped.
And when we first see them, it's the first time we see it, but then it's like, this is a friend she's been going to. So that established that they have a deep connection. And now we're just taking it to the next level, right?
Right.
Because her floating up to the window, that's total Romeo and Juliet territory, right? That's like...
Totally.
So I felt like that was a great idea that they didn't execute very well. And I don't know if they didn't want to get too much into the girl on girl thing.
Right.
The major, huge problem I have this movie.
Let's hear this. This is what
It's a lot of buildup. A lot of buildup. And then the fucking villain shows up to them like DoorDash. Like, there's no work. The city freezes. They don't even go out in the fucking city. All the posters are more dynamic than what happens in the fucking movie. The posters show the Ecto-1 on the bridge. Like, Frozen City, that should have happened midway through the movie. And then when the finale happens, all the cast members are just standing grouped together in the fucking firehouse. There's a moment of busting where they shoot the lasers, then they're frozen. I felt like it was so anticlimactic, dude. Like,
so
holy shit, it blew me away.
I can't argue with that. Like, I do feel like the end scene was not as dynamic as it should have been. I mean, it wasn't as dynamic as the rest of the movie leading up to it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Was setting up a really great third act. And when it showed up, I'm like, what? Really?
I didn't mind what happened. I didn't like how it happened. You know what I mean? Like, I felt like you could have easily just had, if they were just moving around a little bit more and he was chasing them a little bit more, you know what I mean? And they had to get at him from different angles and stuff. That would have just at least made it a little bit more dynamic.
You want to hear my fix? You want to hear my fix?
Sure, let's hear your fix.
I'm gonna do a little bit of rewrite, and it's so fucking frustrating because this movie does a lot of things well, right? And if it just stuck the landing.
Movies are hard though, man. It's hard to, you know what I mean? Like, movies are hard.
I wonder if budget played a part in this. It had $100 million budget, but really, that's not a whole lot for a movie of this spectacular scale, right?
Yeah, totally.
When the city freezes over, these different groups, there's a large cast of characters we're trying to service, right? Which is kind of a cumbersome problem. The movie shines when
you break them down into smaller groups.
When Ray was with the kids, I loved it. When Wolf Finhard was with the Ghostbusters Egon from the show guy, blonde guy, I loved it. Then there's the Ernie Hudson component. Like, okay, all the pieces are coming together. When the city freezes over, have them be in the city in different places.
And they
have to get back to the firehouse because that's where he's going to raise the army, right?
Right.
So the firehouse is the destination, but first you have to get there.
And that's the whole thing. You can get them, you can, like, you know, you set it up as them being, you know, lured into these other areas, and they're just distractions, and he did it on purpose. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, you could, that would have at least added, like I talked about earlier, a little bit of dynamics with them having to get back, a little bit more tension, you know?
When McKenna Grace is pulled out of her body, I thought that motherfucker was going to possess her body, pretend to be her.
Yeah.
I was like, oh shit, that's great. And then she has to speak the words to release him. It has to be a human voice, or I don't remember. Yeah. But I'm like, huh? That's like that. Yeah, sure, that works.
That didn't bother me too much. I mean, I thought it would have been...
It would have made more sense it would have given more purpose to pull herself out of her body, because he needed to possess a living creature to do the next XYZ, right?
And that would have been cool too. That would have been a nice element added. But I think needing her body to speak those words, that worked for me. And they could have just taken it a little bit further to do the thing you're talking about, and I think it would have been all the better for it.
This movie's a tale of great setup, horrible, for me, payoff. It's irritating because it's there. You know what I mean? Like, you're setting up the Frozen Empire. I hate when movies, the build up to the climax to overcome the villain, as Chloe said, yeah, he was a level 1 boss. He put his horns on. He was level 3. And she had a problem with she called Kumai's character a firebender.
Well, that's what he was.
Oh, wait, yay.
He even kind of looked like he was even kind of dressed up like a firebender. I didn't like that he was the fire master, like the key master. I thought that was kind of lazy.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of lazy things in here. And for every amazing world-bending thing, they default to the fucking library ghost, dude. Like, they paused the chase scene just long enough for Ray to see the library ghost.
I mean, I didn't mind that. That didn't bother me too much, to tell you the truth.
I'm okay with it. But then when you don't stick the ending, I think back on all this shit.
You'd been okay with all these little, like, disruptions from the pacing if the ending paid off, because then you wouldn't...
And it wasn't even pacing. It was just, let's make sure we put that in. You're so focused on putting these little Easter eggs in for fans that you forget create like a great epic finale. Think about Ghostbusters 1. That's a finale, dude. The boys have to work their way. First, there's an earthquake. The ghost tries to kill them. Then they have to go up several flights of stairs, go through that. Then there's there's Zool, right? Oh, and they're a little bit of a fight. Then the fight goes up to level 11 with Stay Puft, right? Like, there's like levels. This fucking villain just shows up and everyone stands in a perfect line and shoots at him. And then they get frozen. And then why did McKenna Grace's character, I thought that was genius. The bronze fire pole. You're going to melt it down. I'll put it in just my pack.
Yeah, I thought was like, why didn't she put it in all the packs?
Yes. And Ray was right there. And Ray, the original Ghostbuster, didn't tell anyone that we have a possible solution to stop this guy. The little girl, the black girl, had already said, hey, these things don't work. Okay, so let's just shoot at him anyway. What the fuck, dude? What the fuck?
Yeah, I thought that was pretty dumb.
Okay, and I love the ghost that possessed things. That was great.
The possessor?
Yeah, the possessor. But then it possesses Ecto-1. This is a perfect example of missed opportunity.
Yeah. Right.
I thought that was brilliant. Would have been better if they were fucking driving Ecto-1, trying to get to the firehouse, and it possesses it, and then it's careening about, instead of, oh, it's possessed. It's going to back up in this tiny space. Let's jump out the way. And then it possesses a piece of paper that magically forms an airplane to possess a piece of pizza. While this is happening, I'm like, okay, we're revving up. And then when they beat this motherfucker 5 minutes later, imagine this. Listeners, imagine this world. They have to fight their way.
Troy's heated, man. He's on one. He's on one right now, baby.
It's right there. I don't know why they couldn't see this. They have to make their way back to the firehouse. Walter Peck has already said, I'm closing the doors. And that was another thing. What was all that about? They confiscated equipment and put like a little padlock on the door. There was no barrier. There was no obstacle for them to get back in. Imagine all these cops, security guards, Walter Peck has put them there. And when they arrive, they're all frozen in space, like, and they got to walk through this. And then when he opened the front doors of the firehouse, the dimensions broken open. Like you said, when they went into the containment unit, that one episode of Ghostbusters, it was like a world.
Right.
This boss, this Frozen Empire boss, it's now like broken open the dimension. It's like the TARDIS. It's bigger on the inside. And
right.
That's where the finale takes place. Where it's not just them packed in Bill Murray's old office in the bottom, like standing shoulder to shoulder. It's like this spooky spectral dimension that they're in, and they have to go in there. If he had possessed McKenna Grace, that would have tied into the fact that there's a rift in the family, and they have to convince, maybe reach her heart to break the hold. I don't know. There's so many fucking cool things. And then why did William Atherton, who hates the Ghostbusters so much, allow them? He's mayor now. Why did he allow them to have a business again?
That is a good question.
Why, dude? The reason why is because lazy fucking writing. We want to have William Atherton, and I'm fine. I love Walter Peck.
I don't think they should have had him, personally. I thought it didn't make sense to me. Like, he was too nice to them. Like, he was way too nice to them.
He was having meetings and like, one more time. Do you know what the fix is? Winston has friends higher up than Peck.
Right.
Mysterious benefactors, which could tie into a sequel. We don't know who these benefactors are. So Peck is like...
His hands are tied.
Hands are tied. And all he can say, like, you're lucky you're Zedmore. I don't know who he's friends with, but I'm going to find a way to fucking shut you down. There you go. That's why Peck... Oh, by the way, does Walter Peck have magical powers? Because the fucking lion that shattered in front of the library... At the end, when the city unthawed, they showed the same lion fully formed.
Yeah, no, I don't know.
Mike.
What?
I'm happy you enjoyed this, but that's fucking lazy, dude. Like,
I mean, I just took it as, well, for one thing, did they show it thawing? Was that shot immediately after it thawed?
Yes, immediately after it thawed.
Now, look, yeah, I thought that was weird. Why is the lion back? But I don't know. It didn't bother me that much. I just didn't care enough to let...
Neither the filmmakers or the screenwriter or whatever. Continuity, schmontinuity. Peck made a whole deal, or no, it was Zedmore. He said, super expensive lion. Yeah. You just destroyed, an iconic. Right. People love lions.
Well, and it would have been more sense if they showed like the broken lion head, maybe like laying down, like, unfreezing there.
Yeah.
Like,
right.
As opposed to the whole thing. And I would have been,
or don't show it at all. Like, fuck it.
Show something else.
Yes.
Show the other lion with the missing lion on the other side.
How do you go through editing and not realize, oh, wait, that lion, we shouldn't put that shot in there because that lion's supposed to be broken,
I'm going to tell you the truth. I think it was a choice. You know what I mean? I think that was probably a choice. I doubt they didn't realize that lion was, you know what I mean?
So Peck just had a new lion built, I guess.
I guess that's the way I would take it. Like, they just had a new lion ready to go. You know what I mean?
It's just such a small thing. Again, if that was the only sin in the movie, I would be like, whatever. But the movie's loaded with sins. And it's like, they made such a big deal about that lion being broken.
Right.
And the money. You movie made it a huge point, and then you show it fully formed at the end for no good fucking reason.
Sure.
Simple editing would have removed that from the equation, and then that's a little sin that we could just not even be aware of. But the movie didn't fucking do it. I'm frustrated. Because there was so much of this I liked, Mike.
No, I get it. Look, let me say this. While I cannot argue with anything you're saying, I actually completely agree with everything you're saying. And I do think all these things you mentioned would have made this better.
It still worked for you, and that's fine.
It still worked for me. Like, I still enjoyed this film. And while the ending was not that dynamic and happened pretty quickly, it didn't bother me that much. The ending was a little underwhelming, but I still enjoyed everything leading up to it. And while I feel like most movies can be better in some way, like, and it's too bad we didn't get it. Maybe because, I mean, also, I love Ghostbusters 2, and you fucking hate Ghostbusters 2. You know what I mean? Like, I guess I don't have as much invested in these movies. Like, I don't need them to be like the epitome of films. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I just want to have a fun time while I'm there. And then whatever.
And that's all I wanted. The things I pointed out, I would point out with any movie with any franchise name on it.
Sure.
It's lazy and insulting to the intelligence of... Look, I hope most people love this movie because I would like to see another one.
Oh, yeah.
Like, maybe third time's the charm. Like, they're getting closer and closer to having its own identity. And let's talk about Bill Murray. As much as I fucking love Bill Murray, he had a little bit more to do in this movie, which is nice. But still, as an old Ghostbusters fan, you're waiting for Bill Murray to show up. You got Dan Aykroyd.
Right.
You know, you got Ernie Hudson. You know Bill Murray's going to show up at the very end like he did in the other one.
Right.
I would rather not have him in there than have him just show up to quip a few lines because then it just feels like fucking fan service.
Yeah.
It's probably Bill Murray's fucking fault. Dude, if you're going to do it, fucking do it. Allow yourself to be available to be... God bless Dan Aykroyd, dude. Ray is the heart of the Ghostbusters, and he is still the heart of the Ghostbusters.
Absolutely.
That moment with him and Ernie Hudson, where Ernie's like, man, you're too old. Like, you got to find something else. But there's nothing else I want to do.
Yeah, he was like, it's your golden years. Why don't you, live your life? He's like, do something else in your golden years. And he's like, this is what I want to do in my golden years, It's like people who love what they do, they never work a day in their life, right? People like that, they don't retire because they don't need to retire. Right. What they do is what fulfills them, And
Dan Aykroyd throws himself into this film like he's giving his own.
Absolutely.
How amazing would that scene have been? The missing person is Bill Murray, his fucking brother. Not real brother, but you know what I mean? Like, they started the business together.
Right.
And having Bill Murray there to say something wisecracky, but also his presence is supporting that moment.
Right.
This is what I mean. You could have had a group of kids partner off with Bill Murray, one with Dan Aykroyd. And again, I feel like there's way too many fucking characters. Everyone's fighting for screen times. Really, McKenna Grace had the only art. Poor Finn Wolfhard, his art was he got to drive the car at the end.
And got slimed by Slimer twice.
I thought maybe they're going to make him a mascot. Like, fully make him a mascot like in the animated show.
Like he was in the animated film,
and they didn't do it.
Animated shows.
I'm like, why not? Like...
Slimer was the homie in the real Ghostbusters.
Yeah, he was fucking great.
Oh, I want to see if I can keep up with
Slimer! He actually spoke. Maybe Finn Wolfhard could have, like, he was doing an E.T. thing in Reese's Pieces.
Right.
But instead of trapping him, that's what I thought was going to happen. Like they would have made eye contact. You know what I mean? And he would have seen like, oh, you're not so bad. And
yeah, totally. And maybe, that would have been good.
And maybe teach Slimer how to like speak. That's his little pet project. That's what Finn Wolfhard's role would be. And then at the end, Slimer plays a part in helping defeat the ghost. Fuck me, dude. Like, I mean, come on. Instead, you just have him show up and slime people and run around. No, at this point, Slimer needs character development. If you're going to continue to have him, you've already said this is based on the cartoon, then fucking go full force, dude.
Yeah, man. No, I can't argue with that. I would have been all about having him be more integrated into the movie.
They put the pieces on the board, and they don't move it to get the checkmate.
Almost knocked over Slimer. Don't want to break my $20 popcorn bucket.
Yeah. Well, it is the best reason for this film to exist. Is the
give me a break.
Slimer bucket.
Get out of here,
Your
fucking
Slimer
hater.
Bucket had more character development than the
Get the fuck out of
Slimer
here.
in this movie.
You're such a hater, dude.
I'm not a hater. I'm saddened. It makes me sad that, and I know Jason Reitman, this franchise means a lot to him. It's his dad's legacy.
Yeah, totally.
It feels like we're in safe hands, and then I see it, and it's not like super deep intellectual things I'm pointing out. It's right there. It's popcorn fun things, easy layups, and you didn't do it. You set it up and you didn't do it. Well, let's have Slimer. That'd be fun. Okay, but what's the purpose of Slimer? Instead of just having Slimer, oh wait, we modeling this after the cartoon. Why not have Slimer be the mascot? Dude, let's try teaching him to talk. Like,
I get
and
it.
He says a few lines at the end, like to save Wolf Finhart. He's developed a relationship, and the ice guy is gonna freeze him, and Slimer like sacrifices himself.
Sure.
And then he unthaws at the end. It's like, oh, give me a hug, buddy. Oh, wait, don't give me a hug. He like slimes him. But so cute. The mom, and this was really a note from Afterlife. I mean, she was cast. I don't know why they didn't cast someone who was funny or had like a funny.
I liked her though. I actually like her a lot. Like, she cracked me up.
She cracked me up when she was playing against Paul Rudd. But that's Paul Rudd.
She cracked me up when she was playing against Phoebe, like when they were in the car driving to the town, or when she was just with the kids. Like, when she was with the kids, she was cracking me up. Like, dude, when they're driving into town, he's like, "Oh my God, there's no bars," and she's like, "There better be a bar." Like, I don't know. I thought that was a great little line, and she pulls it off.
Are you talking about in the opening chase?
In Afterlife, and like, you know what I mean? Like,
she wasn't bad in the role. She was just like a normal person. And for Afterlife, I had to, again, that was the adjustment movie. We're like, okay, we're not going to have funny people in this, except for like Paul Rudd. Like, they're playing it very straight. But she was the least of my worries in this. In this movie, they're just they're Swiss Family Robinson in the fucking...
Right, with ghosts.
With ghosts, right? So I'm all about it. Great. It occurred to me while I was watching it, and it really occurred to me because they had one of the pivotal characters be a ghost who's very human,
right?
You know, human looking, even though she had the cool flames. But then there's like booger ghosts,
right?
And a giant like water dragon, like
right.
Why? Like,
why are there so many different types of ghosts?
Right, and it would have been nice. And I get it. Like the cartoon had all kinds of crazy shit,
right?
But in a living, breathing, real world movie, there's an opportunity to go a little bit deeper. And I'm not saying make it some fucking metaphysical.
But you can.
Why is there a water dragon?
You can broach this stuff a little bit more proactively,
right?
Yeah,
and maybe ghosts that have been around for so long, or maybe not ghosts at all. Maybe they're more demons.
Totally,
and that's creepy.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
they half measure
can't argue with
every fucking good thing they set up. They half measure it. The fucking ghost in Winston's lab. The scary one, the actual one scary one, the cool one.
Yeah.
He escapes.
Dude.
We don't see him again. Nice. What if they were in the city trying to bust him? Like, and that's the distraction, Mike.
That's what would have gotten him out of the house.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
They're separated. They're three groups trying to catch these specific ghosts to lure them away from the firehouse. It's right there.
But I also think you being an actual writer, you see these things a lot better.
Well, wait till you hear my daughter's review.
I'm just, yeah, well, she's also your daughter. You know what I mean?
Well,
she's also your daughter.
Hopefully she'll become a writer, and she's definitely would be better than I, because she was in the car screaming. She said it nice and articulate when I recorded it as she calmed down. But she was offended.
Oh my God.
Things. But she is not a Ghostbusters fan.
Presenting Totally Chloe. Make 'em laugh, make 'em cry, make 'em happy and make 'em sigh. I'm entertaining, I'm not a bore. My act's not a secret anymore. I'm Totally Chloe.
Okay, guys, I'm here with my lovely daughter, Chloe. I know you've probably heard a lot about her from my previous reviews. She is my partner in crime in terms of watching movies. Some bad, some good, some meh. But tonight, what do we see tonight, Chloe? Was it a bad or good or meh?
I would put this in the meh, kinda. It's leaning towards bad. Completely bad.
Leaning towards bad? Mm-hmm. Like leaning, like about to fall, like in a hurricane, the tree about to crush your hopes and dreams, or
more like it's about to fall off the flower, like it's so close.
The petal.
Yes,
that's very beautiful. Well, we're talking about Ghostbusters: Frozen Empire. We just got back from like an hour ago seeing this. She took notes, Mike. She took notes.
A lot of them.
I'm raising them right. So let's just start with your impressions. What do you think about Ghostbusters: Frozen Empire? Would you recommend this?
If you like Ghostbusters, you should try it, maybe. But I'm not a big fan of Ghostbusters. I like the first one. I don't remember the second one at all.
Why would someone who's a Ghostbusters fan, what about the Ghostbusters?
Fan service.
Explain.
It has like the main characters from the original version. And then some of the ghosts that were in the original version are also in the new one.
Like Slimer?
Yeah,
like
Slimer, the green one, and then the library ghost.
Yeah. That library ghost scene just was kind of just smacked in there for no reason.
It was.
It was pretty awkward.
There was no reason for it to be in there.
Yeah. What about the story? Like...
Plot holes.
Plot holes?
A lot of them.
Well, let's go through the plot holes. Did you take any plot holes?
Yes.
Notes?
First of all, Phoebe, who is now focused on, instead of like everybody, has a ghost friend named Melody. And the ghost friend has a lot of romantic tension with her, but there's nothing going on. And Phoebe becomes a ghost for 2 minutes for no reason, because she can talk to her ghost friend. I don't know if she can touch her, because she didn't even try when she was a ghost. So there was no reason for her to be a ghost. That was one of the plot holes.
Yeah, what was the... Unless we missed it, there was no real motivation other than she wanted to...
Almost kiss her and then decided not to. Because, like, there was no reason for Melody to even really be in this movie except for trying to move the plot along.
Well, you brought up a good point in the car. Like, because this movie takes place over 3 days?
It seems like it's 3 days, because I only remember, like, 4 nights.
Yeah.
And Phoebe and Melody are only friends for, let's see, Phoebe goes to the park and Melody is there. So that's one time. And then Phoebe has to try and exercise Melody, but Melody doesn't get exercise because Phoebe's like friends or in love with her, something like that. So that's 2. And then the same night she shows up at Phoebe's house, so I'm not counting that. And then the next time Phoebe turns into a ghost, so that's 3. And then the last time is the very end of the movie. That was 4 times. There was no reason for her to be like that.
Because what we learned at the end is this ghost is manipulating her, right?
Yes, manipulating her, but doesn't really want to because Melody's basically in love with her. They don't say it, but it's kind of true.
Yeah, there was some romance going on.
There was.
There was some romantic
They
tension.
got really close. They have like that scene that a lot of romantic movies have where they like look into each other's eyes and are really close. Like,
yeah,
5 feet is not, it's not there. It's
eyes are all like starry and watery. And then she like floats up to her window, like straight out of Romeo and Juliet. Like,
and that only happens in romance.
Right.
So that's stupid.
You got a lot of notes.
I do.
How about this? Me and Mike, sometimes we take notes, and the best way to do it is just go from the top of the list.
Is really smart. She was smart in the first movie, I mean, and in this movie, she is not so smart because they paint her as this really smart person, yet she makes stupid decisions. And yes, she's 15, but she can make decisions in like 5 seconds. But the whole time she was walking with Melody to go to become a ghost, she didn't think that there was anything wrong with it. For context, there's like this Krampus dude. He kind of looks like Krampus or like a level 3 boss in a video game. So not even the top boss. He wasn't that cool.
Evil DoorDash guy.
Yeah, evil DoorDash guy.
You don't have to find him. He comes to your house to fight you.
He ends up like taking over Phoebe's ghost body, not even her real body. Phoebe didn't even try and think about that, which is kind of dumb because towards the end of the movie when they're about to fight for the like 5 minutes that they do, Phoebe comes up with a solution in like 5 seconds about heating up a bronze thing from the
fire pole. I think they cut the fire pole and they melt it and they put it in the pack, a neutron collider or whatever.
So she can think about that in 5 seconds, but she can't think about all the consequences that would happen while on a walk to go to the place. And she doesn't tell anybody about her plan, even though this is very useful because nobody knows how to beat Krampus. And she tells an adult, which one was it, Ray?
Ray,
and Ray says nothing.
Actually, Phoebe thinks of it, and Ray's like, genius!
Apparently not so genius because she can't tell anybody else.
That bronze can harm him because that's how they imprison him in a bronze sphere. And she pours it in just one pack, her own.
And I know they have enough time to do that because the facility was probably pretty far. Even if it wasn't far, a ghost broke out and was able to get to the firehouse, which he had no reason of being there.
You talking about the possessor ghost? I forget what they called it.
The one where the blonde guy with the accent had to fight.
Yeah. Oh, you mean the green booger ghost?
The green booger ghost.
Yeah, blob. Yeah.
Was there for no reason other than to get rid of a character, which is another problem because this movie had a lot of characters but didn't know what to do with them. So Finn Wolfhard was in the movie for maybe 5 minutes max. And he wasn't really a character in the movie. The times he was in the movie was pretty funny. There's this guy, Nadim. He is like this fire master who can defeat Krampus. He doesn't know how to firebend, which I'm just gonna call it that, because that's basically what he's doing. He doesn't know how to firebend, really. He has to use a lighter to try and light the candle. It's like from the original Avatar movie, actually. The bad one, where they have to have fire near them.
Yeah, that's right. I have to be standing near pebbles to control.
Yeah, he is like not good at all. He tries to light a candle and lights that candle and ends up lighting a book on fire as well. So he isn't good. They set it up as he's not good. 3 minutes later, to be convenient for the plot, he knows how to then control, what was it? Like the proton gun thing?
The proton beam. He was able to proton bend it. He was a proton beam bender.
Yes, you are not Azula. That looks like lightning, first of all, so I wouldn't even think about that. And he is set up to be dumb. The comic relief, since Finn Wolfhard isn't really in the movie, they have to have him. So it doesn't make sense. And Krampus freezes everybody. All of the main characters. Except for Phoebe, because she's down in a basement with her ghost girlfriend. He doesn't get frozen, only for conveniency of plot, because Melody goes up to the first floor where they're fighting Krampus and is like, okay, I have a match and a lighter, because that's her like her ghost item, I guess. I don't really get that.
They established that some ghosts are attached to items.
Yeah.
Which is foreshadowing, setting up, basically.
Yes, it was so obvious, it's crazy. But she lights the match, and then he firebends it. And it's like, weren't you supposed to be frozen? I know Krampus was not lacking. So, what's happening? That was just stupid. And he also brought some stuff from his house, which he didn't even really bring important stuff. He brought an outfit, an entire outfit.
This ancient armor outfit, which, I don't know, maybe he thought he needed.
And again, he's set up to be dumb. He wouldn't think about that. And I know nobody else thought about that. They had too many ideas and not enough time to do it. Yet they made this movie feel like 3 hours. They have this like facility where they, they make ghost busting stuff, and they can now study the ghosts. And there's multiple different ghosts in these like containers.
Yeah.
And they're all really cool, but they don't have enough time to establish it because they're trying to move the plot along. And it's like, I would like to see stuff about these ghosts. There was this one ghost who could like get into any object.
Well, that one did show up quite a bit. He became a major antagonist, it turns out. But even that was kind of a letdown. Yes,
it wasn't that great because he controlled the car, the ghost car.
Ecto-1.
That's what it's called?
Yeah.
I didn't know how to name.
Don't worry about it.
Ecto-1 to drive back into these files so that it could then jump into a paper and make it turn into a paper airplane. It was not a paper airplane before, and fly up to the second floor. You could have probably just done that, I assume, because you went through the entire city to get here. Which again, a lot of ghosts just showed up. I guess the entire DoorDash company was working this movie because they had no reason to be there. They had no reason to be there. So that didn't really make sense at all. And Krampus, his source of power is his horn, so he had to go get his horns, which I think is kind of stupid because he was a level 1 boss and then he's a level 3 boss. It doesn't make sense because he isn't even that cool. He can freeze a bunch of stuff, and that's a cool thing. And he freezed like the entire city, and they didn't do anything with it. They only stayed in the firehouse, and that's it. So it felt like a very small movie.
A small movie that was very long. Too long.
Yeah, too long for my liking. Oh, the guy with an accent. I don't know his name, and I kind of don't care to know his name. He had an accent, and I think he was blonde or ginger, and there was this booger ghost. And he got, like, slimed, and that looked like the same goop that the green goblin thingy? Slimer had. Looked like the same one Finn Wolfhard had on him previously in the movie, and he was perfectly fine. And he was out for the entire fight.
Right.
Again, they had too many characters that they wanted to use and not enough time.
So there's no reason him to be disabled during the fight. Why couldn't he come down and help?
Yes,
well, probably there's no room. Literally, the firehouse was packed full of inconsequential characters.
Yes, it was.
McKenna Grace was the only one they really needed.
There wasn't a single death in this movie. That's what I just realized right now. There was not a single death in this movie. It is a PG-13 movie, but I feel like Ghostbusters, it's very dangerous.
Oh wait,
it's ghosts.
But in the beginning, the 1904 prelude, those
the 1904. Prelude. Oh my gosh.
And they broke apart.
For some reason, that building, the firehouse, looked AI generated. I don't know. It didn't sit right with me. And oh my gosh, this made me lose my mind. The mayor, he was like, I'm gonna take the firehouse away. And he did. He locked it with one lock and had no police officers stationed there, which is his fault. And they just kind of break in, and it's never brought up again in the movie. That could have been a really big plot point, that like the police officers were gonna stop them. But no, they just wanted to say that it was gonna get taken away. Add some extra stakes that you're not even gonna mention. Oh, the black girl that was in the movie, I don't know her name because I didn't care about her. She was...
Pointless?
Pointless! Yes,
Yeah.
she was pointless,
Sorry,
like Finn Wolfhard.
Right.
So there was no real reason for her also to be in the movie.
Oh, what was Finn's arc?
Oh, he got to drive a car, and the arc lasted for 5 minutes.
That was his entire arc in the movie.
He, in the very beginning, in the chase of the water dragon, who kind of looks like a Genshin character, the Oceanid, which isn't good. Why do all these ghosts look like video game characters?
Well, yeah, they're not really
good.
They're not. They really didn't want to scare anyone. I mean, some of those ghosts in the containment facility, you know, the singular ghost.
Yeah,
that one actually looked pretty cool, and then he disappeared.
Yeah.
I guess the movie realized we don't have the rating for you. Go away. The traps are pretty cool. The one that flew and whatever.
Yeah, the one that flew. Oh my gosh! In the first scene where you were with the family, which I don't remember their names, I could care less. Spengler?
The Spanglers.
Spanglers. When you were with them, they were trying to bust ghosts, like a water dragon. For some reason, they decided to use the remote control car instead of the drone to try and catch it. Which didn't make sense, because it was in the air. So, what made you think that the car was going to do anything?
Right. You're right. Oh, yeah, you're totally right. Well, I think at that point, it was lower to the ground, but I get your overall point.
No, not really. It was actually pretty high. No matter what, if it's in the air, why are you using the little car thing?
I'll trust you to remember more than that.
Yeah. Krampus wasn't creepy or scary at all. And I think it's because it's a PG-13 movie, but I feel like PG-13 movies can be scary if you try hard enough.
Well, the original one had the Slimer ghost, which was kind of silly, but
it's
a lot of those ghosts were kind of scary. I remember as a kid, I was 9 years old when I saw it. It kind of
you want to
scared
know
me
something? The reason why it's not scary is because there was barely any ghosts in it. For real, like physical ghosts other than Melody, the library ghost, who I'm not even going to count because she was there for 5 seconds. The creature that can inhabit objects doesn't even have a physical form. So I'm not even going to, it's just Red Sparky.
Yeah, unless you get scared of possessed pizza.
Yes.
Because that's literally what he did. He'll possess a vacuum, a pizza, lampshade.
He had the zoomies. Like, that's it.
Yeah.
The scariest ghost, by far, in the entire movie was the one in the glass container, and it kind of was, like, in the dark, and his eyes glowed. That was pretty cool. I wanted to hear a story about him, but no. We have to get back to Phoebe. The lion that was at the library was the object ghost, Sparky, who that's what his name is now, Sparky. Sparky possessed the lion, and then the lion cracks completely into little pieces.
The mayor is, like, mad that it's broken.
Yes, and then the very end of the movie, it is fixed. And my problem with that is because the mayor was mad at the Ghostbusters because they...
I thought your problem was going to be physics.
Oh, yeah, physics as well. Like, that was stupid.
It's broken, and a day later it's fixed. But
and the mayor is mad because they're wreaking such havoc on the city, right? But you have the money to fix something in a day, it seems. Why are you complaining?
So was there anything that scared you? Like, any moment that was, like, tense or like, ooh, but not really? Not at all?
No, it wasn't that great. Most of these characters weren't important other than Phoebe and the main cast from the very original.
What about the kid called Podcast? That kid was...
Podcast kid?
The
Oh my gosh, I forgot about him because he was so unimportant. He tried to beat Thor so hard because he had like a hammer.
Yeah, that was just the thing. He would smash things.
Yes, that's it.
Throughout the film, he was smashing things.
Which is stupid, actually, because he was working with Ray at this like spiritual vintage store, and they would check to see if if my phone was inhabited by a ghost that I knew.
What if it was inhabited by a ghost? Would you still use it?
Yes.
You couldn't resist.
I'll befriend the ghost. It's fine.
The Frost King would just like He wouldn't have to convince you.
Like, okay, that's cool.
Can I get my phone back? Sure, use my body. World ending? Well, as long as I'm cozy and bad.
Like, this grandma had a watch, and she was like, my husband, or whatever. The podcast guy was just like, Hulk smash. Like, bro, what? That doesn't even make sense.
Well, he said
Give me my money back.
That's why people tuned in. For the smashing.
Yeah. Honestly, he just was trying to relate to Gen Z, which I hate people who try and write Gen Z without having a Gen Z in the room.
Oh, you mean the writer was trying
yes, to? Yes, because that entire like, subscribe, all that, yeah, no.
Well, it's true, though, right? Isn't that like, it's a thing?
Yeah, people like smashing things, but seriously, you didn't need to go that far.
You felt it was wedged in.
Yes.
Felt clumsy. Okay.
Yeah, this movie wasn't that great. The more I think about it, the worse it gets.
Did you like anything about this movie? Other than when the end credits appeared, I'm sure you were happy with that.
I like Nadim, but that's because he was comic relief. And only sometimes I giggled. And it wasn't even a real giggle, I just smiled. When they were trying to be funny, it wasn't funny.
But what about Phoebe Spangler? Did you just thought she made really stupid decisions?
She was pretty. I liked her.
Did she have any redeeming qualities, or she was just kind of meh?
She was smart and she was pretty. That's the only things I really remember about her. I do think her and the dad were like cute together, like their relationship. I'm sad Finn Wolfhard wasn't in it.
Because you think he's cute and dreamy?
Yeah.
Well, overall, you're not a fan of Ghostbusters. You did like the first Ghostbusters, right?
I did like the first Ghostbusters.
Okay.
So, overall, I'm not a fan of it. It's just, I expected this movie to be better.
One last thing. The reason why you remember so much.
Oh, so I wanted to watch this movie only because I wanted the candy, popcorn, and slushie. So we went to the movies and I got my Starburst, my popcorn, and my slushie, which Starburst and popcorn are really good together. And I sat down and my stomach started hurting, so I didn't really eat my popcorn or Starburst. And that was just what I was going to do, so I wasn't really going to pay attention to the movie. So now I was aware of what was going on and I actually paid attention, and it sucked.
So the physical stomach pain forced you
to actually pay attention
to watch the movie, which in turn made your brain hurt.
Yes.
With its own different type of pain. Okay.
And conveniently, as soon as the movie ended, so did my stomach pain. So, yay! Also, they've handed out Ghostbuster pins when you walked into the theater. That was pretty cool.
That's not even in the movie.
Yeah,
that's
just even merch. The movie.
That's just buying your adoration.
Yeah, and the popcorn buckets were cool. It was like the slime guy and the mushrooms. That was probably the highlight of the movie.
The mushrooms? Oh, you mean?
No, I mean the marshmallows.
Oh, the Stay Puft, they were cute, right?
Yeah, that's why they were the highlight of the movie.
Do you remember him from the first movie?
Kind of. Yeah. He was like big, right?
Yeah, big.
He was still cute.
And they had the trap popcorn holder. So was there anything that scared you? Like any moment that was like tense or like, ooh, but not really? Not at all?
No, it wasn't that great.
Not a good sign.
It wasn't. Another not a good sign was the fact that I realized that I was tired halfway through the movie. I don't think I should be thinking about that.
Oh, you need a laundry meter. That's old Uncle Mike. He could tell you all about the laundry meter. Have you heard about laundry meter?
Yeah, I listen to your podcast.
Okay.
I'm not completely unaware. Sometimes.
So wait, what's how many loads of laundry? Let's just
what I need.
Theoretically to keep you awake. Say you saw this at home.
I wouldn't watch it at home.
Well, for the sake of argument, okay. You had your laundry at the movie theater tonight. How many loads would you have to fold?
Like 6, maybe.
Six? Your entire wardrobe? Okay.
Yeah, my entire wardrobe, actually.
And
you know what? I'll clean my shoes as well. Because it was not great. I was so aware of every little noise that was in the theater because I did not care about this movie.
You were hypersensitive for the end credits to roll.
Yeah.
Leave. So the moral to this story, daughter, is just let me know what theater snacks you want, and I'll bring them home for you.
Yeah.
You don't have to physically be there to be tortured.
It seems that way.
Cruel. Only if you know, like if you make a D on a test, I'll force you to. That'll be your punishment. See a movie that only I care about.
Is this like marketed as a comedy? Because it shouldn't be.
Well, Ghostbusters is a comedy.
Like the entire franchise, like it's literally
like
label
Ghostbusters
count.
People remember it because like 3 of the original 4 were comedians. Famous comedians. So these famous comedians in a sometimes scary, supernatural, save the world setting was completely unique and amazing. and it's like what they call lightning in a bottle. You ever heard of that term?
No.
That's basically, you may catch lightning one time in a bottle, but it'll never happen again. Like the odds of it happening again, and that's what that term really means.
Yeah, it's like the first Mean Girls. You're never gonna achieve that, like how the humor was ever again.
Oh boy, should we do a Mean Girls review?
I will eat up Mean Girls.
I know you will. Like, you want to do a Mean Girls?
I would be fine doing a Mean Girls
I'll let you
review.
have at it.
Because, I rate this movie a 1.5 goop creatures, scary creatures, because...
Wait, was it scary, though?
No, scary creatures. One scary creature, and then 0.5 because I like the marshmallow guys, because they were really cute. And I like cute things, so...
So it's really a 1.
Yeah.
But the cute meter... Like,
the cute meter
brought up half a point.
Yeah. Only half of it.
That's very generous of you.
I know. I'm so nice.
All right. Nothing else to say, right? I think you covered it. I don't think Mike and I need to say anything. Unless Mike loves it.
Well, then, wow, he has a problem.
That's going to be an interesting conversation I'm going to have with Mike.
I'm looking forward to a third one. I look forward to these movies. I enjoy them. Like, I enjoyed Afterlife a lot. I enjoyed this one a lot. If they make a third one, I'm pretty sure I will enjoy it a lot. All this stuff is great, Troy. And I think it would have made it better.
I'm just a nobody, Mike. I'm just a
But are you? Are you, Troy? I don't think you are. Just because you...
I'm sitting here in my pajama bottoms and my old faded dude t-shirt.
So what? So what? That doesn't matter, Troy. Like, you know, plenty of people... There are better writers than the people in Hollywood. They just don't have the connections, or they didn't get lucky and get connected. You know what I mean? So I mean, you can't sell yourself short. Right. These are all great ideas, and I think it would have made a better movie. Yeah. Everything you're saying would have made a better movie, Troy. I would have liked to have seen that movie.
Right.
I think I would have liked that movie better than I like this movie. I know I would have. But all I'm saying is that I still like this movie. You know?
Oh, and Janine.
Why was she there, right? Completely pointless?
Oh, man, it breaks my brain. Now, sorry, hold your eardrums. Why the fuck was Janine there? They gave her a gun. Did she even shoot that fucking thing? I guess she did. And the cacophony of them shooting pointless proton beams at something that they know the proton beams doesn't affect. But why have Janine there? Janine could have been paired with Venkman. How funny would that have been? Venkman, Janine, and a kid. And they're off somewhere trying to do some shit. Give her a reason. Give her a reason instead of just, oh, look, it's Janine. Oh, look, is she qualified to wield one of these things? Like,
I think, yeah, but it's also easier to look at something after it's done and pick it apart than to try and come up with it beforehand.
Script,
it's true,
dude,
though.
But I know it's true, but it's not true here. You wrote Janine shows up in this scene. And then she shows up at the end. Give Janine a cool little arm proton thingy. How about Janine? Does she work for Winston?
Yes. Yeah, I think she does.
Have her do things.
I don't remember.
Have her be present at the lab in scenes that's already existing.
Yeah.
So have Janine, she was secretary. She's grown into some family business. They hit this in the end where they got to band together, help her hold the fucking proton thing, which didn't they do it in Afterlife? The same fucking thing. It was Egon helping her hold it, right?
Did, I think.
Yeah, okay, let's rehash that. And then below, we have the old team, like, trying to pull the trap lever. I'm all about it. Bill Murray and Janine were barely in the fucking movie, so that has less meaning to me.
Right.
That's just, oh, they're gonna do it together. They didn't do. Ray and Winston did shit together. Janine was off doing whatever the fuck. And Bill Murray, he showed up on Wednesday and Thursday to film his scene. So what is that? Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, I get
everything you're saying. I've gotten everything you said from the beginning.
There's a rift between the Spanglers. And then that moment, they've healed their rift.
Sure.
How about there's a rift between the old team?
Sure.
And they set it up. Golden years. Like, it's about, should we do this anymore? Are we too old for this? And maybe Bill Murray's, he's kind of in the middle. Dan Aykroyd's like, no, let's do it. And Winston's like, we shouldn't. We'll call orders to the troops, but we don't need to be field men. And Venkman, he's a nonconformist. He's like, you know, fuck it, I don't want to be a pound of boring desk. I don't necessarily want to do all that work either. Right? Like, that's there, and Janine's there too, right? In that mix. Where does she fit in? That's the B story. Those are concurrent running stories. It's a story of family business. This is what this is, and family coming together. They didn't do it. They didn't stick the landing. I think 2 movies from now, we're going to have a great Ghostbusters movie. And I hate to say it, once they stop fan servicing, let the guys go out to pasture. And maybe that's what they're setting up for the 3rd one. Let these characters breathe on their own. Let it be what it's going to be with them. That's the problem. It's 1 foot in the past, 1 in the future, and it's doing neither one of them well. All right, Mike, what would you rate Ghostbusters Frozen Empire?
I will rate this a 3.5 out of 5 possessed pizzas jumping all over the table.
I'll give this 2.5 DoorDash boss level ghosts out of 5.
Oh my God. This fucking guy. This fucking guy.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? I've just been handed an urgent news story, and I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
So if you would like to support this show, keep us going, keep us rolling along, uploading content, you can support us by going to patreon.com/baldguysbadmovies and donate to the show. We're going to use those funds to make sure we can see any movies that you guys want to see and getting our studio set up so we can start recording video and doing these not just audio but also video on YouTube. And once a month, we will pick a patron to choose a movie for us to review. And we'll review it. We'll dedicate it to you. But either way, we just hope you enjoy the show and keep on coming back.
The prime motivator is a demon called What?
Named what?
What?
I asked you first. No, what is its name? Don't ask me, ask Egon.
This will show you what.
Huh?
Never mind.